Hello, Kathy Vic, deeply awake. We would like very much to revisit a topic that we just touched on briefly when we were talking about the vegans. Yes, it is about nutritional requirements versus nutritional preferences. So, what we would like to say is that through a series of events which assisted the one before you to detoxify the physical vehicle, she was given an opportunity to change her relationship with intake. And this can serve as a bit of an object lesson for others. What she went through was quite dramatic, we say, because her body just would not respond to food and drink the way it once did. And when she did partake in food and drink for approximately 9 months, she had pain, physical pain, and purging that was not volitional. And yes, the vehicle was becoming clearer. Her body was losing the weight, yes, and her clothing, she was having to discard many clothings in her closet, and yet she would get on the scale and it was the same number. And so we would say, okay, well, there's two things to measure here. There is mass and there is density, and you are losing density. And the mass, well, that will come. Now, we cannot say it was a conversion from fat to muscle. This one does not do the working out. And at this point, yes, it's a little bit different, and there is a little bit more of this conversion, because she continues to lose the weight and yet, even though clothes are being discarded again, the scale does not move. So there's that. There are many things to say about body image and how the soul, the being, expresses physically well. We say, as we told her over 20 years ago, when she say, oh, why am I so fat? Why can't I lose no weight? What is this all about? We told her, okay, here. Fat, well, it carries more light than muscle, okay? And so people who are big often are what the crayon calls, later called the fortressing. As a metaphor, you are bigger than you physically appear. So the other is the physical, that the fat cells, well, they contain light better. So many people who go through weight fluctuations, well, they are also going through light fluctuations, you see. Okay, so there's that. But above and beyond that, there is this idea of restrictions and how the body is being thought of. We do notice a certain need for order and control that people put on their bodies. Yes? And whether this takes the form of going to the doctor and getting on medicines for things that are kind of unusual in the body, or feeling that a certain regimen must be maintained for health. These are both quite restrictive, are they not? Yes. This does not discount such things as allergies, so we will talk about them quickly. There are many who are more allergic than not and some who were not very sensitive to certain external things, foods and drinks, but then suddenly they are. What is that about? Well, you can say 100th monkey, There is a certain sensitivity that is reached, that is shared. However, more when there is a reaction to an external food, drink, environmental whatever, when there is a body reaction, well, the body is telling you, hey, I think I need to get your attention here. In the skin, well, the skin loves to talk. It is a wonderful organ for detoxification and for expression. So, having difficulties with your body, certain foods are taken and then you feel crappy, well, if you know this, then you know to stay away from certain foods. We caution you, though, if your dietary requirements are entirely restrictive and tinged with a little bit of indignation or fear, well then, this is an acting out process that is going on. Now, how can we say something so revolutionary? It is because of this, dear ones. Come to a certain level of attainment, and you may drink water and thrive physically. You may eat, things that are maybe not even that good for you. And if you understand that it is you, your whole body, which is having a relationship with that food you are taking into your mouth, if you are in love with it, if you know, you can tell your body, hey, here comes something a little bit funky, but I know what you're gonna do with it. You're gonna find a way to give me health with it without any physical harm. Well then, that's a relationship with the body that some do not have. Instead, they have many restrictions. The question here is your body friend or foe? Is it fussy? Is it controlling? Is it highly requiring of a controlled reality? Well, that's speaking to you, is it not? If food and drink is very high in the thinking process when going out or considering budgeting or whatever, this is a tracer. It can be seen as a tracer for your survival beliefs. Because if you understand that simply your prana, source, energy, feeds and nourishes and sustains you, how can there be a lot of restrictions? How can your body not be working for you, with you? It is a level of freedom that some have and some do not. So, coming from this place of, oh, well, my body is my friend, and when I drink water, my body does not take on the fluoride or the things that might be harmful to it. It knows better. Well, to some this seems like magical thinking, but it is indeed true thinking when one has a living, breathing relationship with one's innate and knows who and what is truly in charge of health. So, dietary restrictions, we say, we wish to remind you that the sense of hunger can be a very triggering one. It may bring up lifetimes of living in poverty. It may bring up a lifetime where you died from hunger. Often it is seen as an emergency by the conscious mind, not by the innate. The innate senses it instead as Kundalini energy, and to be mindfully massaged and spoken to and loved. This is the way to see hunger as a trigger for survival thinking. Well, there you go. Hunger. It's your body talking to you. It is a fire. It is friend, not foe. Dietary restrictions are fine. There's nothing wrong with them. What we are saying is that there is such a thing as dietary preferences. Much like the one who knows they have a problem with their alcohol. Well, there is a great group that for years after the individual has indeed climbed onto the dragon and is riding the dragon very successfully, still the consciousness is that of overcomer of drunkenness, whereas someone who has had an experience, and the one before you, long-term experience with using alcohol highly inappropriately, well then, yes, that is one way to cope. And when deep in the valley, it feels like, a resurrection after a crucifixion on the cross of addiction. But once resurrected, well then, a drink now and then may not be that bad of an idea if it's tolerated and preferred. This is the idea. Preferences. Looking at life this way can help too. It is perfectly acceptable and a bit of a societal norm to approach life as a series of restrictions. And we would say this is the shell, right? The yes-no binary train track kind of thinking. Yes and no opens and closes realities, of course. So, if this is the case, isn't it perhaps a more wise way of approaching things? To see things as preferences rather than things that must be fought against or avoided at all cost. Yes. Focusing on pleasure instead of pain. Focusing on ability rather than we hesitate to use the word disability. So much about the human body can change in an instant. It's a phenomenal, beautiful organism, which is far more miraculous and strong than human beings believe. So, we ask only that you consider restriction versus preference when it comes to dietary issues. And if you can use your innate, well then so much the better. You may use a pendulum to determine which food and drink your body really likes. Yes, this is good. And we did do a video on how to use a pendulum, and we believe we did talk about food choice at that time. However, there is also making agreements with your body. 15:15. Such as this. Oh, being in love with body. Yes, it's important. And taking it in, the miracle that is the body, and saying, dear body, oh, please, would you please guide me? If you'd like me to eat something, well then, let me know. Give me the shivers when I'm thinking about the food preferences that I can have, the different things I might have off of the menu from my home or at this restaurant. Or heat me up, or tickle my nose. But talk to me. Otherwise, I gotta get the pendulum out. Talk to me. Perhaps this voice comes in as a little voice. Who knows? There is, there is magic afoot when it comes to this connection, innate physical body with soul mind, spirit mind, integrated human mind, and seeing body as friend, which has preferences that you would love to honor. And perhaps the feedback loop does not have to be a rash or diarrhea, but a nudge here, a tingle there, and pleasure in eating and drinking, instead of a fearful or restricted experience. Consider this when you are at the restaurant. Consider this when you are at the home and wondering what you should eat. Consider that there is an entity which would like to weigh in, and if not given a chance to speak out loud, will be happy to do so indirectly through reacting to what you do. Why not listen to it first? What a lovely message. We love it very, very much indeed. And so we will say goodbye and ask you to have good health and pleasure in eating and drinking. It is important, we assure you. Namaste.